All right. Hello, people. Welcome to another Saturday at Microsoft Zero to Hero, another live session. This is Saidal, and I'm so happy that I'm hosting another session, which is pretty much interesting. I'm really looking forward to learn from our experts that we invited to this Saturday. He's going to share a lot of amazing content with us, and we are going to enjoy about what he's sharing with us today in at Microsoft Zero to Hero. So I'm going to share my slides as usual, straightforward. So as I've said, we have Bülent as a speaker today. He's going to talk about very interesting topic, which is pretty much trend nowadays. All you need to know about Copilot Studio. Personally, I'm really looking forward to learn from Bülent today, and it's pretty much interesting topic to learn about it. So if you haven't joined us yet, aks.ms/join0to-hero, it's the short link that you can basically use to fill it out the form, and then you can be part of Microsoft Zero to Hero learning rooms. Currently, we are 6,000 members together, so we will be happy to have you on this amazing community because this is your community. So for the next slide, Microsoft Learn Community. We always talk about Microsoft Learn Community, the best place if you are new in this world, in the Microsoft world, or if you are an expert. This is the place that you can learn, you can share, you can be part of this amazing technical party. And the good things about Microsoft Learning Rooms is basically you can get the latest update, you can share what you learn, and also you can directly connect to all experts that they are in the Microsoft Learning Room communities. So basically, it's a great opportunity for everyone to skill up their knowledge. So if you want to learn more about Microsoft Learn Community, aks.ms/Microsoft Learn Community. But as I mentioned before, there are more learning rooms that they are covering by other Microsoft Learn experts. So basically, you can check out and find the best room for you. So aks.ms/learning rooms, it's a great place that you can find the specific room that it's pretty much fit with your current area that you are working with. So far we have had some sessions, and we also going to have more sessions during on this month, October. So make sure that you have registered for all sessions like what we have today, and you registered, and it's pretty much amazing to have all of you as member in our community. Before I basically go for code of conduct, you may heard about our plan for November. We haven't spoiled it yet, but we have a promotion video. Basically, that video is part of our plan for November. Let's have a look that video, and we will back soon. So far, you may guess what is our plan for November, but as we mentioned, stay tuned. In next 2 days, 3 days, we will publish some news about our November plan. So, and the last slide, code of conduct. So at Microsoft Zero to Hero, we want you to be aware of others, be friendly and patient, be welcoming and respectful, be open to all questions and viewpoints, be understanding of differences, be kind and considerate to others. So with that said, let's bring Bülent to the stage. Hello, man. You're muted. Oh, okay.
Hello, everyone. So, my friends, how are you doing?
Yeah, all good, all good. Once again, thank you so much that you accepted and joined us to this Saturday. And sorry, yeah, Saturday. Sorry. So basically, we are so happy to have speakers like you with huge experience in the field, and it's a great opportunity that we can learn from you.
Awesome. So, thank you for having me on short notice. I'm super happy to be part of that program today. And I would say, let's kick it.
Yeah, let's do it. So perfect. Then the stage is yours, man.
Thank you very much. So, welcome everyone to this today's session about Copilot Studio. And let me just shortly introduce myself. My name is Bülent Altinsoy. I am living in Germany, but my name doesn't really sound German. So my origin is Turkish. My parents come from Turkey. They moved here to Germany, but I'm just living here for a very long time now, and it's pretty nice here. For to me, a little bit about me. I'm an MCT, Microsoft Certified Trainer, since 2021. And if you're just asking what I'm about in MCT, it was starting with customer engagement in Dynamics 365, and but also I'm doing since a very long time also a Power Platform. I'm working in a company, in a consulting company named Evanate. This is my role there. I'm working in the learning section as Global Business Application Portfolio Lead. So in that role, I'm supporting and planning strategically the whole fiscal year about what kind of strategic trainings we are doing in Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. It's very exciting to be part of that. But not only this, since beginning this year, I'm also a community member. I'm contributing a lot. So I think if you're active in LinkedIn, I'm pretty sure you already have connected with me. If not, then you will have the chance later to do with me. I would be very happy about that. I'm blogging. I'm now also starting speaking as well, as today, for example, right? And my blog is that aloha guy at substack.com. Why aloha and why you hear me mostly saying aloha is because I had a wonderful experience a couple of years ago on Hawaii, and I can tell you it's my dream island, and I love the relaxed people there. That's why I also have taken this one picture where you see me in a suit in the background, the Pacific Ocean. I'm active on LinkedIn, and I have also a YouTube channel called Multi Dataverse because I'm so into Marvel, and I think you will understand the background more and more if you get connected with me on LinkedIn. So happy to be here. And in that case, I would say, let's start. This is what I have just packed today. So first of all, what is Copilot Studio? And also clarifying the question, what are Copilot agents? Because this is new and this is super confusing. I try to help you with that kind of terms, what agents are. In the next step, in chapter number 2, I will also give you tips and tricks how you can develop your own custom Copilot, because this is something which might not be that easy for you, but I can tell you with me after this session, you become an expert and you can just really easily deploy your first custom Copilot. I have also brought a package of demos as well, which I think makes sense because then you see how easy it is, but I also have brought you 2 use cases, which makes you then understand how awesome Copilots can be when you build them with Copilot Studio. We will also go into the comparison between Copilot Studio and Azure AI Studio. So when should I use which application? So this is sometimes also not clear. I'm also going, if time allows, as it really depends on how much time we have, also a little bit about challenges and limitations and risk, with that tool. I'm not every time on that hype, the marketing people are just going through. I just also want to talk about reality and what you should definitely consider. So as some kind of guidance. And last but not least, I know that license question comes every time. So that's why I call it the $1 million question. So what does it cost me? We will go quickly over this because licensing could be challenging, but I hope I can help you with a little guide of this. And at the end, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any of your questions. So in that case, let's jump on. What is Copilot Studio? I can explain that going to the application. We can explain it the Microsoft way, but today we're explaining it the Bülent way. So in that case, I just think about This is Copilot Studio in the middle. So what can Copilot Studio bring us kind of action? So what can we do there? So first of all, Copilot Studio is the tool where you can build your own copilots and where you can extend your copilots. That's why I call this part author and extend. Now, I have custom copilots which I can build, and I can extend first-party copilots. So custom copilots are the one which you're just building from the beginning. So that shouldn't be, I think, very easy to understand. But the first-party copilots are the one which Microsoft already have on the market as a service. So for example, if you're coming from Dynamics, so this could be copilots for sales, a copilot for service, Copilot for finance, all the products which are really prominent in the Dynamics world. And these are the ones where clients can come in and buy them, and these are working out of the box. But these can also be extended because it depends on the requirements clients have. I'm pretty sure there will be requirements from clients. So this is my over 10, 15 years experience with clients. You can also extend them as well. But first of all, let's start with custom copilots. So before I just do this, let me just bring out my spotlight. So for a little bit a better orientation. So I'm just starting with that custom copilots here. And what we did before, so before Copilot Studio had the name Copilot Studio, this product was already 5 years in the market, but had a different name. It was Power Virtual Agents. And with Power Virtual Agents, you had so-called topics. So a topic is more or less a branch which you just developing, and your chatbot, that was the term that we have used with Power Virtual Agents, have gone through step by step, ask questions, who are you, where do you live, what do you want, etc., etc. So, and you could have some kind of entities, and these were the place where you have stored all that information. So within a conversation, that kind of information would have been asked, you didn't need to ask them again. So if you get asked again, who are you, that could be a little bit annoying for someone, that's why that was a pretty good invention. The thing is that this kind of Power Virtual Agents was good from the concept, but not very successful because people still had to build everything on their own. So that's why Microsoft brought in something which we call the Copilot Builder. That means with natural language, you can just ask, what do you want from your Copilot? And the natural language understood you in a way that you could build this. So, natural language becomes the new low-code, no-code developer language, and especially for people who are not really good in learning that kind of languages like PowerFX or JavaScript or C# and so on. So that's a huge help with Copilot. But that's not only it that you can use natural language. You can also use so-called actions. So what is an action? So obviously, Copilot Studio or your Copilot you're building needs information, and that information does not lie necessarily in your Copilot. That information has to be grabbed from somewhere. So it could be Dataverse, or it could be any kind of flows or connectors, custom connectors, where you're getting that kind of information. So you can connect to any system, retrieve the information. For example, you want to fly, and if your ticket is still valid, or maybe if your plane has any kind of delay, then obviously you need to connect to a system which delivers you the answer, and you can just do this with so-called actions. The difference with actions is the action already has a more or less full-fledged prepared flow. You don't need to necessarily develop something in Power Automate. It's already there. You just define the input and the output parameter, which makes everything much easier and much nicer. Then there's something, and I think this makes a huge trick, is something which is called knowledge source or generative AI answers. So you don't need to develop that kind of a topic anymore. You just need to connect your knowledge source. It can be a web page, for example, and then you can make Copilot Studio do the rest. That means the Copilot Studio is generating an answer, a generative answer, and that's it. You don't need to put so much of an effort anymore. And I will show you an example how easy it is now. Your knowledge sources can be everything. I said it can be a public website. It can be files. Files, by the way, also have been dramatically improved. Previously, you had only a maximum file size of 3 megabytes. Now you have 512 megabytes. So this is really huge. You can put a lot of information there. You can also use Dataverse, which is in preview. Fabric is in preview, but unfortunately not accessible to everyone. So I think it's still a closed preview. So only specific groups have access and test it. But I think once this becomes live, this will be also a really huge game changer. And last but not least, SharePoint. SharePoint information that you just have there can also be used as well. So that's all more or less about how you can develop your custom copilots. But now let's talk about your first party copilot. So what you can do there. So you don't have any kind of options like you just had, with custom copilots, but you have so-called action. And these action really depends on which first party copilot you're using. So if you're using, for example, Copilot for Microsoft 365, then you have these options. You have flows, you have prompts, you have connected, and you have something which you call conversational, which is nothing else as a topic. So you're just building more or less an own topic there. But these extending is not everywhere possible. That means if you're using a tool like Copilot for Sales, then you only have one option, and this is a connector in that case, what you can only do. So this is more or less everything what we need to know, right? Because we only have 1 hour, and I want to teach you as much as possible about Copilot Studio. When we go into our demo in a couple of minutes, you will understand much more what I mean all by this. Let's have an overview about the other things. So first of all, there's another layer, which I just have named understand and ground. So first of all, the model understanding. So Copilot Studio comes with a so-called standard natural language understanding model. So out of the box, this is a service you can right away start, so you don't need to do anything. It works. You can work with that and produce results. But there's also something which is called custom Azure CLU model. So what does that mean? So sometimes there's situations you need to store more information in an entity, which you see here. What do I mean by this? So for example, you're working at your hometown, or maybe you're living in your hometown, but you're working in a different city. And maybe you need to provide this both information. There is an entity which is called city, but you can't enter these both cities there. You can only enter one information there. The workaround could be that you're just creating a custom entity and store it there. But that custom Azure CLU models just helps you to define a model where you can also define multiple entities with the same type, with the same purpose. But as this name already tells you, you have to go to Azure and have to do this, and that makes it everything complex. So if you're an end user and have no idea about Procode, this could be a little bit challenging for you. But the huge things, the most huge things, is the GTP model. Generative pre-trained transformers, which you can also train. So usually, previously, they run in the version 3.5 Turbo, which was good. Now everything have been now updated since a couple of days to version 4. That means it's becoming much faster. So maybe I've heard about dynamic chaining. That was the previous term. Now they're using it triggered by Copilot. What does mean is that this large language model behind handles everything. So it means if a user is just writing, for example, where's the next Starbucks? And then if you have, you can use this large language model with a according public website, and then he generates you the answer and gives it back to you. So there's nothing you just have to do. Right, languages, by the way, is also important. There was a pain point in Power Virtual Agents, but finally now it's really possible to have your Copilot in different languages. The setting of the languages is a little bit not that easy to go. It's more the dynamics way, but since you have understood how that works, everything is fine. So the whole appearance of your Copilot can then appear in the according language. But with generative AI, there's no need that you need to develop language packages in different languages, because generative AI, and one of the biggest strengths of that is it can answer you right back into the language you just ask. So if, for example, your conversation starts in English and someone just asks back in Italian, for example, then a Copilot Studio or generative AI is transforming that into the Italian language and continues the conversation in that language, which is, for me, one of the best use cases where you should use Copilot Studio. Now let's talk about the integrate part. So that's more interesting about the developer. So you can develop plugins, low-code plugins. You can developed with Power Automate, but also with HTTP connectors. So this is super cool. That's also another way of how you can, bring in the data from outside to this. But this is also an own part of that where you can just develop that, and it's not dependent on the topic. So here previously you had that kind of, you're depending on the topic, and here you're independent, can create that, but you can use it in any topic then, of course, as well. This is a very important topic. Unfortunately, we will not just have so much time to deep dive into this, but it's about governance and security. So you have heard about the term Copilot agents. I will talk about that in 2 minutes. What is important about to know about this is your Copilot is very chatty. That means if you not really have a good security model behind, it can put out all important information which you don't want to expose. So in a public website, that might not be a problem. But with SharePoint, maybe it could be a problem that your Copilot, which you're using on a website, for people as an offer, just ask me anything. And if you haven't a good authentication and web channel security behind, it might be it's revealing much more information as you want to expose, and that could be a security issue. Let's talk shortly about orchestration. So at the end, when you develop your Copilot, you need a channel where you want to deploy that. So that could be a Teams channel. That could be a website. On your own website, it can be a Microsoft product like Power Pages. But it could be also other channels where you can just deploy that. And sometimes, and that's mostly the case in customer service, you need to hand off to real agents, or real human being, if your Copilot cannot provide the answer. So in terms of avoiding that this Copilot has been abandoned, or the check has been canceled, a handover to a real agent can be a trick just to solve that situation. Last but not least, talking about agents, I leave it like this at the moment. I have a dedicated slide where I just explain that a little bit more detail to you, because I think this is super necessary to do. Last but not least, analyzing your Copilot is very important. You need to understand what is the customer satisfaction score, and also engagement resolution, escalation, abandon as a statistic, just to see how good your Copilot is performing in the real world. This is a feature coming still from the old Power Virtual Agents, but it's super helpful just to understand if you need to tweak your Copilot. Good. So now, what are Copilot agents? I have now something which just came from the Power Platform community conference 2.5 weeks ago from Vegas. So there was a lot of Copilot Studio sessions there as well. And what is interesting is this part here. So this is from the session with Dwayne Robertson. This is the guy, the Copilot Studio guy on Microsoft. So you have to believe everything what he's telling. And in this session, he just told there's a change in terminology. So Copilot Studio still remains Copilot Studio, but in the future, we name custom Copilots to either agents or custom agents, and extensions will be Copilot agents. So we're using now the term Copilot agents now so much, and if you're just coming from Microsoft 365 area, so you also have some other kind of Copilots there, like declarative Copilots, for example. And these kind of terms for the end user really doesn't help. So let me help you with what is now expecting us in the future. So the one or other is already lucky because in his or her tenant, this has been already deployed and can be tested. So Copilot agents are a way for end user to create any kind of Copilots. So usually that's like that. So this is a field service agent, and you have something which you call create a Copilot agent. If you come to this, then you have Copilot Studio still in the background working for you. It just asks you in a kind of conversation, what do you want to build? And you provide then the information. On the right side, you see then a preview of what will be created. If you're happy with what you have created so far, then you click on the create button and boom, this will be then your Copilot agent which you can use. And the reason why this might be a huge success is that Microsoft is now differentiating between end users and users who works in IT and are developers. For the IT and developers, still you're using the Copilot Studio, which on marketing slides also been branded now as Copilot Studio Platform. But this is now the so-called Copilot Studio Agent Builder. Currently in Microsoft 365 and BizChat, and in SharePoint available. And then you can just build your own Copilots. So this will be very, very interesting. I am, let's say, not 100% happy about that. Let's say I'm 98% happy, because I'm always thinking about, okay, how looks the security behind? If everyone starts now creating this, how's the governance behind? So this kind of information is still missing to me, but I'm pretty sure they will be revealed in the upcoming future. So we have to be always cautious about that things. But I think this is a great way of everyone who doesn't have access to Copilot Studio, that you can just create your own Copilot in the future. And I think this is good for the acceptance as well. Now, before I go to my demo, how should I develop my custom Copilot? So I'm still staying in the old terminology because I think it makes sense. So there are 3 things you just need to consider. Number 1, the answer I'm just getting, is it, I need to get that immediately, or shall I get that or allow them to get it a little bit later? So synchronous versus asynchronous. The second thing is about how perfect I need the answer back. Shall it be always the same, so deterministic, or can I let generative AI do whatever it wants and I'm happy with any kind of response I'm getting, even this is maybe not every time the same response. But last but not least is data in it. So data shaping, yes or no. And in that case, this is a little nice guideline, which you can just use. It's not maybe perfect, but it just helps you in which direction you want to go. For example, let's say you have to find out, I need some kind of synchronously and deterministic, and I don't have so much data shaping there, so I can maybe use PowerFX. Then I can use a connection action or go into within a topic. If it's something like it shall be more asynchronously, then you go more in the direction of a Power Automate. And if it's like, you have data shaping there and it's not deterministic, and you say, I don't care, please just generate me anything in kind of information, then maybe you just go more with generative answers, which is just branded as triggered by Copilot. Previously, it was within a dynamic channel. Now, that was a lot of theory. Let's dive into our demo. And let's have a look on how it looks like. So I've brought you 3 demos to this. And the first one is, I want to show you how easy it is just to build your first Copilots within minutes. So first of all, what we need, obviously, is I need a Copilot to start. So this is the overview. So if you click on Create, what is important for you to know is there's already some templates which you can use, like you see here. So in that case, you can use this one and see how it's built. Or in our intention, we just saying, let's build a new Copilot. Now, it just starts with a conversation to you. That's a Copilot builder. So I'm here to build you. So what shall we do? I don't know if you drink coffee. I think the whole world drinks coffee. In that case, I want to build a guide to Starbucks. And I'm not paid by this, by the way. But if someone from Starbucks hear me, my address is, I want to build a guide to Starbucks in Munich. So in that case, it just generates me now something. And you see on the right side already, it just put in all the information there. So great, do you have any instruction for how your Copilot should exist? For example, a specific tone. The tone shall be friendly. You can set every Copilot a tone like friendly, excited, professional, etc., etc., etc. Great, it will have a friendly tone. So where can Copilot find that kind of information? So in that case, let me just type in Starbucks Munich, and I'm just going to the website like this. Here we go. I'm just grabbing this one, and I'm grabbing the German version by purpose, so you will see why. Now, in that case, it will just take this. Great, that works. So anything else? Let's say I'm happy with that. There's way more to things like things to configure. If you can just go in here, you can go to edit advanced settings. For example, you can just select your solution where you want to deploy this, and you can give even more technical details like schema names. But this is something we just at the moment letting it as it is. So I'm just now creating, and boom, this is my first Copilot, which I have just created. And it will not work in the first minute or in the first 2 minutes because it still needs some time to grab the information and everything has to be set up. But you are already there, so it works. So it tells me I'm your Munich Starbucks guide. All that kind of things I can just adjust, obviously as text. But can you tell me if the Starbucks at the Munich main central station is still opened? So might be that you don't get now immediately the answer. As I said, it needs a little bit of time. So, and let's see what it just says. The Starbucks is indeed open. Way, fantastic. What are the opening times for the Starbucks in Munich Central Station, main station? So here we go. And let's see if you can already provide me some kind of information. Voila. You see, I have not done anything. I just have pointed to a public website and I'm already getting with generative angels that kind of answers. So I would have to, put so much time more to develop this kind of things if I would have done it manually. Last thing, I'm just switching the language. So I've seen some people come from Brazil. So how about that I just ask it in Portuguese or something? Unfortunately, I can't Portuguese. That's why I'm just using German. But if I can ask it in German, I will translate it to you anytime because I'm a man. I can't just write and talk at the same time. Not possible. I'm a man. If I would be a woman, different, but I can't. So, nearly right. So I just asked, can you tell me the location for the Starbucks in the main central? And let's see, I just have missed now Munich, sir. But here we go. I'm writing something back in German, and boom, he just, gives me the answer back in German. And it's the same. If I'm just asking something in Portuguese, he gives me the answer in Portuguese. If I'm just asking something in Spanish, I'm getting back the answer. And I think if I would develop all that language templates for this, on my own, I know that from my Dynamics project in the past, this takes really weeks and months. This is a game changer. Maybe you can try Danish. It's close to German as well. Yeah. If someone just put me in the chat, a wording about that in the according language, and I can also try this out. So up to you in that case. But, time wisely, I would just show you now a different one. So in that case, let me just jump now to a second scenario I just have brought to you, which I have called currencies. So there's the currency converter behind. I want to go abroad and I need to exchange money. Not everywhere I can, pay with euro. If I go to the US side, I need US dollar. If I go to UK, I need British pounds, obviously. So in that case, I just want to show you that I'm getting, that kind of currencies. So let me go to my knowledge. In that case, my knowledge is a Dataverse table. In that Dataverse table, I just have a website where I'm just creating that information. So let me see if I can find that quickly because I don't have this European Central Bank exchange rate. So let's see. Here we go. I understand. And now this is the exchange rate in that case. So for US dollar and Japan and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just interested in pound sterling. So let me just go back to my Copilot and I say I'm ready. Yes, let's go. Now, this is my Clippy. Copilot for me is nothing else as Clippy to me as a Clippy 2.0 in that case. So it just converts me now the base currency. So in that case, let's say, can you give me the rate for US dollar? What you will see now will be an interesting effect. If it's working, of course. So in that case, it doesn't work. No problem. I have a second version of that, and I can tell you with this, it would definitely work. Because sometimes with generative AI answers, it might be it doesn't work. I have a trial version, I'm running out of tokens and so on. This could be something like this. But now we do the following. Let me just first of all check in the currency. I'm just going in here that I have data there. I have data there. Fantastic. So now as you see, this is the rate, by the way, 1.1. Let's remember this one. And I'm just going in here. You see this is 109. That's definitely not one. So it's outdated because the last time I've just updated this one, it took a time. So let me just update this one. I built a Power Automate flow. And this Power Automate flow just grabs the information from the website. So if you're interested in that, I can point you to a blog post where I just have created that. Super easy to do. What I'm just doing is I'm just only writing update. And it's just doing with a Power Automate flow in the background now this update. So you will see in that case. So what it's just doing is updating my database table. So it's grabbing the information from this website, storing that in a JSON, and then I'm just updating then the database. Very easy to do. I didn't know how to do this. There was Damien Berg with a fantastic video, and boom. And it automatically jumps now to my second version of that. So Clippy 2.0, the most improved partner in that case. You see a steroid version of that. So which currency shall we convert from the euro? So let's do this again with US dollar. And the reason why this will work is because here in that case, there's a prompt behind. And this prompt also helps you at the end to express that data in the sentence exactly in the way you want. So it's a little bit more reliable. You see, that works. And prompts are also out of preview. Usually the other one should also have work, but knowledge sources, sometimes it could be that it's not working. With prompts, you're on the safe side. So you're interested how it looks technically? I'm pretty sure. Let's have a look there. So we're just going in here, and this is an AI prompt with Dataverse. So what's happening in that case is I'm using a prompt. So I'm just asking in the previous version, let me say yes. I'm just asking, and I can just, by the way, say track between topics, and automatically that should here appear. For some reason, it's not there. Finally, it's there. Awesome. So I'm just have multiple choice options in that case. I'm just asking in which kind I want to convert that. I'm just saving that variable here. And then at the end, I'm converting that variable to a text, and I'm handing that over to this. And then it goes to this prompt. Let's have a look in this prompt. So once this is opening, and I hope this opens quite fast. Sometimes it's not the case that it's fast, but hopefully it's Saturday, not so much people working on a trial tenant. So hopefully this is how it looks like. So you can insert any kind of Dataverse here into your prompt, which is amazing. This is a variable which I'm just handing over, and I'm using natural language as my developer code. So look for any records where this currency is equal to the table name currency. And then please bring it out. It's in a text summarized by the following text. €1 corresponds to this rate and to this currency. That's it. You don't need more. This is pretty simple and easy to do. So let me just do this with Turkish lira, because my origin is Turkish, and I'm always crying if I see that kind of rate, because it's horrible. So €1, if you pay €1 as exchange, then you're getting nearly 38 Turkish lira then back. And this is, pretty simple and easy just to do, So someone just wants to have in Danish krones. Do I have Danish krones here as well? Let me check. I did. The next time, Martin, let's connect before. Then I will just do this for you in the future. But this is my second example. Now I come in with another example, which I think is also interesting for you as well, as I have demonstrated the first time yesterday. So this is a learning app, a Canvas app. And you can, connect Copilots now with Canvas apps as well. So let me just go into this. So the intention of this here was not this learning app. This is just fun. I just have developed a console where you can adjust colors. And if you just go in here, you see this here. I can adjust the color. Either I'm just writing it in something like this, or I can just put that kind of color. and boom, then I can change my color scheme there. Pretty simple, easily. But what, this is manual entering of data. That's not sexy, if I may say. So how can I make it more interesting? You can use Copilot, which you developed, Copilot Studio. So I can now use Copilot here. This Copilot is in Canvas Apps in Preview. You don't have so much of graphical inputs there. That's why it's a little bit, very more text. But it just asks for a color palette and will suggest you a trend. Oh, that's great. What are the color palettes you have? So in that case, it just tells me, hopefully. Sorry, okay, rephrasing again. So name me one color. Hopefully this works. Okay, fantastic. He just suggests me from that list C. So let me just show you what is the background of that. So there are different websites where you can have that kind of color schemes. And if it's C, for example, this could be this one and a different one. So instead of that, I'm typing that manually. I'm just have connected that and stored that information in a table in Dataverse again. And then I'm just asking right away, okay, he just says C, and I can ask, what are the color HTML codes for C? And I get information, but it's not that interesting. Let me update you, and you will see that these color buttons will be updated in here. So now say, please update this to C. So now it's updating me that in the background. Unfortunately, because beginning of the age of Copilot, no Copilot agent there, this is not automatically. I have hidden here a button, and if I click on this button, it has now put all that data into my Dataverse, only with Copilot. And if I'm clicking now on this button, look on how this is changing. He suggested me something which comes as a source from here, from Copilot. I say, okay, this is great. I just want to have this. And then I'm clicking on this. Boom. There's also others, update to night. And then he just updates me to this color scheme. And then in that case, I can click on this button again. And then, has he already updated this one? No, finally. You see, now the appearance is just changing. I'm changing my Canvas apps colors. And if I go back to the application, you see that my whole application has now changed from the color scheme. Without that, I need to do this in a painful way, like you should do this, right? I have just used Copilot, and I've just asked, suggest me something as a trend. I use a trend, boom, it's updated. That happens without seconds, without that you need to develop that in a painful way. Good. I would say that shall be with the demos, because I see how time is running out. As always, time is not my friend, my enemy. And in this case, let me just go and let me clarify the last topic. So Copilot Studio versus Azure AI Studio. That is a question like low code, no code versus pro code in that case. Like, if you're coming from Power Platform, Logic Apps versus Power Automate, that's the same. This is some kind of an overview which is very helpful. And if you just go to this, my Copilot will be used and authorized anonymously internal or external users. And if you just go and say yes, 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 I would say to 95%, this is good, valid. And at the end, if you just come out, you just use Copilot. If you see that, for example, you need another knowledge, you need to access with connectors, and you say extend it with Power Automate, or my Copilot does not need full control over its AI. Prompt control is sufficient. No, I need the full control. Maybe you have just to go with Azure AI Studio. And if you land in somewhere else with a no, maybe Copilot Studio is not the right tool. And this is sometimes also the reality. Even sometimes this happens. So in that case, you need to develop more with a Azure AI Studio in that case, which is okay. This is something which you can use, with client clarifications in the beginning to identify if Copilot Studio is the right fit, yes or no. So, but things are changing. This, what I'm showing, could be that it's not valid in 3 months or 6 months anymore, because now all the Copilot studios are also getting GTP 4.0, for example. So they're getting multimodal. So they're not, working with text only. You can also work with pictures, with videos, with any kind of other sources. So, and this on exponential rate. So fast. It's really amazing how fast it is. Let's talk shortly about challenges, limitations, and risks. So you've seen sometimes even in my demo, Copilot Studio does not come and react, and says, I don't know what you want from me. That happens because I've used Dataverse, and Dataverse in previous sometimes doesn't work, but even with generative AI. Or one of the reasons is it could be that you're just running out of tokens. So in a Dataverse environment, if you just, message a Copilot, usually you have 800 RPMs per Dataverse environment in that case, 800 responses per minute. And this might be that if 1,000 users are using that, you're running out of time, and then you're just getting a send failed, for example. Or Copilot just mentioned to you, I don't know what you want from me. That sometimes also happens. It's not nice. It happens. It might be you have subscription limits. Your clients are buying a subscription for $200, and they think, okay, we're now on the good side, but they want to use it, for example, in Teams, and then finally just found out there's some limitations. So all that kind of things, every system integrator definitely should have that in pre-talks with clients to go this. There can be also some kind of app limits as well, right? So usually the web apps do not have some kind of limitation, but in Teams app, you have only 50 per Teams, for example, that you can just use. All that kind of things are documented on Microsoft Learn, have definitely to be evaluated before you just go. And one of the last things which I also want to show is required services. Sometimes clients have restrictive firewalls, and they don't allow these kind of services, have to be allowed through firewalls on the client side if they want to use it internally. Otherwise, they will run into some kind of issues. Things which definitely need to be considered as well are every new feature which is coming. Is it in preview? Yes or no? So that prompt feature you have seen that worked and have shown me the currency works, because that is there since a long time and is now reliable. Other services are also, like generative answers, are also out of preview, but sometimes lacking. That could be different use cases, why it's that, or use causes why it's the case. New features have always that danger that things are not working as expected. As I said, we are on an exponential rate. These things have to be tested properly. If this is working, but everything with a preview tag, don't go to production with that. You will not be lucky. Definitely lucky. And the service of Microsoft will say, it's a preview feature. We can't help you. Yeah, you as a system integrator could have fun with that. Security is a very important topic, which for me, security, this part is really not really discussed, in any kind of discussions with clients. This is definitely something you need to take into consideration, because as I said, your co-pilots can be very chatty, and maybe you don't want to allow everyone just to connect with that. Secure the data, have a good and proper security concept behind. Very important. And the performance. Sometimes clients are very unhappy if they're going live the first time and find out that, when they're just talking with Copilot, that it takes longer than 15 seconds till you get an answer. And this is super, super uncool, if that comes like this. Can have different root causes. For example, the internet of the client side, on the client side, is very slow. It can be that different other root causes. It's not good scaled and all that kind of stuff. So these are the things, security and performance, which I would say, don't leave that to the end of a project. Someone took that into consideration in the very first beginning, so you're not getting surprised by this if any kind of testing is at the end. Last but not least, the $1 million question: what does it cost me? So first of all, it really depends on what kind of license you have. You can buy a tenant license, and you can apply that tenant license to internal user within a tenant, and then they can make use out of that. But if you want to use Copilots outside, right, outside of a tenant on a public website, you can't assign licenses. If you can assign licenses, please call me. You're allowed to call me even at 3 a.m. because I just want to know how you do this, because I would be really, really curious about that. But my believing is it's not possible. That's why you need to buy so-called messages packs. So Microsoft is offering for $200 around 25,000 messages. I'm a Super Mario fan. I'm tend to say these are coins, which I'm just collecting. So you have 25,000 coins. And what is important for you to know is the message consumption rates. So if you're using an answer, for example, Copilot Studio is you ask Copilot a question, and it's a non-generative AI answer which you're just getting that consumes one message or one coin. If you're using generative AI, then the consumption are two messages. So that means, for example, a user asks when a store is opened, and Copilot answers back. This is one build message. But if you just not only ask for opening hours, but you also ask for upcoming holidays, that made you use generative AI, and that would build two messages. This helps you to identify how much of that message packs you might need. For example, if you say I'm on a website, I assume per month there will be over 1,000 people just using that. 1,000 people, let's say in two or three questions, and then you're getting answers. If they're generative answers, that would be 1,000, two messages, three times, that would be around 6,000. Then you would maybe with one message pack, you would be happy with that. But it might be that 10,000 or even more want to use your Copilot, then this can be tough, and that's why do a proper calculation first. I think that's good. Now, that's the end of the story. I see there's a lot of questions, and I'm happy to answer any kind of questions, I would say.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for the information that you shared with us. Personally, I'm going to rewatch this session again because you've shared a lot of key points in your presentation. And one of the slides that I really like that it's related to Copilot and Azure AI Copilot Studio that you compared, because this is one of the questions that I always receive from people. Should I use Copilot or should I use Azure OpenAI? And that slides will help people to understand it in a good way, which one should go with. So I'm going to rewatch this session. So as you mentioned, we have several questions which makes your life a bit, not easy. The reason is not because you have to answer the question, because at the end of the, answer all of this question, you have to choose one person who is going to receive Microsoft exam voucher discount, because this is what plan we have in our community. So let's start with the first question that we received. I think it's from Martin, and he asked, beginning of your presentation, can we create database also? But I think it's connected to this question. Can we provide knowledge as database in Copilot Studio?
No, you mean you want to connect another source as a knowledge source. I would just say you can connect any kind of database. So currently only ones which I have shown can be just selected there as knowledge sources.
Yeah, okay. And there is another question from Martin. I'm no longer seeing the demo website option after creating a Copilot in Copilot Studio. And have there been any updates or changes recently that might explain this?
Depends on. So in that case, when I'm understanding the question right, is you just have the demo website, right? And after creating Copilot, and you don't see this anymore. That might be happening to any kind of updates, but I would say the problem with this is also you need to use the authentication feature in the security, because if you want just to deploy, I can quickly show that to you if you want,
sure.
so that's a little bit easier. So let me just bring this up. At the end, if you want to publish something, let me just go into channels. So in that case, if this is not possible to choose, you have just to check from a security point of view what you have just selected. So in that case, if you go to settings and then to security and then to authentication. So in that case, it just tells you authenticate with Microsoft. It only allows you this Entra ID authentication for Teams and for Power Apps. So if you don't see this with your site, just check your authentication. Maybe you just need to go with authenticate manually. You can also try your luck with no authentication, but I just found out if you're using generative AI or if you're using Dataverse, for example, they need some kind of authentication, and then you will get an error message. It will not work. So there is also a very good guide in Microsoft Learn about how you can do the authentication manually. But if there's a need for this, we can also create a video or make a blog post on that, how to do this. I have a Copilot newsletter, a studio newsletter as well. Well, some people already have provided good examples already with SharePoint and authentication manually. Hope that
Okay.
helps.
Yeah, amazing. We have another question from YouTube. User expect GPT model. Does any other models embedded in Copilot?
It is possible. It is really possible that you can use this with workarounds. So that means you can make the use power with Power Automate and use a connector. It can be also a custom connector. So I've seen some use cases where, for example, there was a large language model from Amazon, AWS, and they have connected this with either you can connect it with Power Automate. I don't know if Microsoft Graph is supporting that as an option, right? But with Power Automate that works. But this always comes with performance cost. You know, if you're using Power Automate is an asynchronous service, you don't get the answer right on time, but theoretically it should be possible.
Cool. There is a question from Aziz. How important is building a custom Copilot if an out-of-box Copilot exists?
Okay, my question would be back, what is the out of the box Copilot, right? In that case, so if you're referring to if there's already a Copilot which exists, and you don't need this, you can modify it and extend, then you can use this. But my experience is always there's someone has built it for one purpose. Maybe you don't touch that. So just build your own Copilot in that case, because then it's yours, and I'm pretty sure you will not run also some kind of issues. I've seen that someone who's just built an own Copilot with his own credentials, if you just go in and modify it there, it might be this is something is not running quite well. My experience is just build everything on your own if it's not that difficult. But if it's, for example, in a project that you're taking over about a Copilot, obviously, which already exists, and the purpose is to maintain it or extend it, then you can also go with this as well.
Okay, cool. And I think this is the last question. In the future, will we have the option to switch to our desired language model in Copilot Studio?
Yeah, but not the low code, no code approach, to be honest. So there is an option that you can use your large language models which exist in Azure. So this is one requirement, and you can connect them, but you have to modify this everything in Azure. So you have to have that Azure knowledge to do this. And I'm pretty sure if you're an end user and someone from the business, most probably this is not the case. So, but as I said, also with that other approach, you know, with Power Automate, you can connect with these. Currently, these are not easy to go steps, but it's possible. But it really depends on how deep your knowledge is. And you have to maintain this, right? So if you're just using that kind of things, then Microsoft could say, sorry, we're not supporting that. And you know, in a very hectic business life, I know from clients they're mostly overwhelmed, have no time. If this kind of things are coming over them, they give up. So in that case, you just always have to ask yourself, what I do need, right? And what is maybe missing. But I think with all the GDP 4.0 and more, which is coming, these are so powerful at the moment. I don't see that use cases you need to switch, but obviously it really depends on the requirement.
True. And we don't have any question more, but we have some comments that people thanks you for this great session.
Awesome.
So I can show some of them on here.
Thank you very
Plus,
much.
Sharon shared us a very funny comment here. So
Yeah, Sharon is my very good friend. I'm happy that she joined here as well. And Joe Griffin is also an awesome character. So I will see them everyone next week in Scottish Summit. So this will be very, very funny. So
yeah. Next week, together with Bülent, Sharon, and you and Anderson, we will be in Scotland to present about Microsoft technology and solutions. Perfect. Yeah. So now it's your time. please choose one of these people that ask best questions.
I would say Martin was so active. I'm choosing Martin, right? So
Okay,
you
perfect.
deserve that.
Yeah, sure. Martin Christie, please contact us. We have your email. We try to contact you first and trying to send you the voucher exam and hope you can use this voucher exam and share about your success story in Microsoft exam process. So we will love to see your successful past year. So perfect. Thank you so much again, Bülent. Bülent, you shared a lot of great information with us and hope to see you again in Microsoft Zero to Hero stage.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a great day, folks.
Have a
Talk
great
to you
day.
soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.